Tony Pritchett, I'm the Public Safety Director for Gilmer County. What we want to discuss is the incident that occurred today on Highway 515. At approximately 11:02 this morning, Gilmer County 911 received a call for an accident for a tour bus and a tractor and trailer at the intersection with Whitestone Road. Our units responded and were on scene minutes later. Upon our arrival, we found a tractor and trailer that was going across Highway 515, in which the tour bus was traveling northbound and collided with the rear of the tractor and trailer. At this point, we had our final count. We have 43 total injuries and 1 fatality on the scene. We did have 4 individuals that were uninjured. One of those individuals were transported by air. The other 42 were taken by ambulance to area hospitals, to include Fannin Regional Hospital, Northside Cherokee Hospital, Piedmont Mountainside Hospital, here in the immediate area. We do have the highway shut down, both northbound lanes, for an extended period of time. We anticipate it to stay that way for a good period. We're waiting on State Patrol teams to get there to assess the scene and to do their investigation. At this point, I'll open it up for questions to you guys.
Chief, when you first pulled up to that scene, I mean, just describe what it looked like and what was going on at that scene.
Upon first arrival, there was still a good bit of traffic trying to get around the vehicles. Good number of bystanders there in the area. Our emergency responders immediately went to work and got on that bus to start assessing patients to determine what their need was and where they need to be transported to and the level of care that was appropriate.
And I mean, what are some of the challenges anytime you approach a mass casualty scene like that?
At this point, obviously, number of patients is our biggest stumbling block. Being in this area of the state, sometimes resources take a little longer to get here. We were able to request resources from surrounding counties to get enough ambulances here for transport and treatment of those patients. Gilmer County does have a mass casualty trailer furnished by the state Department of Health folks. We did respond to the scene. We were able to get the equipment off and begin a triage process relatively quickly. Obviously, fire, fuel hazards, and hazardous materials and things of that matter are a primary concern. Those things were mitigated early on in the incident.
On that bus, the front of it, can you describe if that front cab was collapsed, were the seats smashed? Give me some sense of
there was extensive damage to the front end of the bus in which it was pushed back. Yes, sir.
Have we identified at this point the driver of that bus who passed?
They're working on that on the scene, and we're not releasing that information at this point.
Do we know where the bus was going to?
At this, we are not clear what their final destination was going to be for the day. Those are all details that are being worked out at the scene at this point, and when that information is available, we'll be glad to release it to you guys.
What did the truck driver tell you?
At this point, we're not releasing that information until we have a good full interview by law enforcement.
You mentioned in this part of the county that resources can be tough to come by. I mean, so how do you handle that? I mean, how do you train and how do you prepare for something like that, knowing that there's going to be that lag?
Yes, sir. Fortunately, we do have good mutual aid agreements in place with the surrounding jurisdictions, and our folks that are here in the county regularly train for incidents of this type. So due to training and good mutual aid that we have in place, we were able to mitigate the scene fairly quickly for the situation we were presenting.
Is there any reason to believe alcohol might have been involved in any way?
I don't have any information on that at this point.
Is it the name of this bus company? Is it Getaways? Is that what it is?
We're not releasing the name of the bus at this time.
How many other agencies were involved? Did you get involved to help out containing the accident?
Off the top of my head, of course, our public safety agency to include the Gilmer Fire, Rescue, EMS, Gilmer County Sheriff's Department, Georgia State Patrol. We received mutual aid resources from Fannin County EMS, Pickens County EMS, Dawson County EMS, and Murray County EMS as well. Very thankful for the response for those surrounding jurisdictions. They were very helpful.
Is there any signal? Is it just a highway approach? Is there any signal at all?
There is no signal at that location. The curve that comes up to that intersection has a limited sight distance, and this is somewhere that we do see accidents that can be pretty challenging pretty often.
Okay, but there's no stop sign. There's no yield.
There is a stop sign for the traffic that is going across the highway. There is nothing on 515 as far as any type of signaling.
Can you talk a little bit about who was on the bus? Like, was it elderly? Was it a church group? Was it
The majority of the passengers on the bus were elderly passengers. We don't know a specific group or if they were from a specific church or anything like that, but most of the passengers were elderly.
When you first roll up on the scene, I mean, just talk about what goes through, you know, the mindset of those first responders as they're seeing, you know, they got to get 40 old folks plus old folks off a bus, triage. What goes through their mind?
Absolutely. Scene safety for all involved is absolutely the first thing that, you know, comes across all of our mind. Getting up there and doing an assessment of the patients that you have and the resources that you're going to need, the extent of injuries, those are the first things that go through your mind.
Overall, how would you rate, you know, the response? It seems like we had the situation under control despite those challenges pretty quick.
I'm very proud of the resources that responded to the scene. It was handled very quickly and in a very professional manner by all agencies that were involved. I'm very fortunate for the focus that we received and the good job that they done.
Given the amount of damage, how did these two vehicles manage to stay upright?
That's a very good question. I think it was more so just the angle that both vehicles were traveling and of the impact that probably prevented them from rolling over.
And did you have people who were other motorists or whatever? Did you have witnesses?
There were witnesses there in the area, yes, sir.
Can you talk about what they described?
I don't have that information right now. They'll be speaking to law enforcement at this point.
Just from an you know, an emotional perspective, anytime you guys, you know, roll up on a scene like that, I mean, is the heart pounding? Is that, I mean, give me a sense of what it feels like.
Absolutely. You know, everybody's adrenaline's up whenever they get to a scene of this magnitude. But, you know, thankfully these folks are trained and seasoned in doing this, and, you know, they get to work and doing right what they need to do pretty quickly.
Does the first thing that come to your mind in a case like this, you talk about a tour bus possibly fatigue?
Unaware at this time. You know, this time of day, you know, you would expect people to be pretty good on driving conditions, but we don't know right now.
But this was just a matter, it sounds like the truck just hanging out and the bus driver may not have had enough time to react.
It's very possible. Like I said, it's limited sight distance whenever you come around that curve there.
I mean, if you find truck, because we've seen, you know, we see trucks crossing this road doing all kinds of crazy. Is that a common occurrence where a truck's kind of pulling over, stopping there for the other thing, and hanging the back of this truck over the freeway?
I would imagine it is a pretty common occurrence. There is a lot of commercial operation that happens down off of that turn off there off the highway. So the trucks do come in and out of there pretty frequently.
Just to recap again, so which vehicle was traveling at regular speed, presumably on 515? Which one was it?
Well, the northbound travel was by the tour bus.
Tour bus.
Uh-huh.
And the tour bus was on 515?
That's correct.
Okay. And then so it's the tractor trailer that was trying to enter?
At this point, yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
What did it look like he was pulling out of right there? Is there a yard or something?
There, like I had said, there are commercial operations that happen off that portion of the highway there, and I'm not exactly sure as to what his specific purpose was, but he was coming from that area.
So which vehicle would have had the limited sight distance?
The bus. It would have been the bus.
It would have been bus.
Yes.
So you probably think he just kind of came
Well,
up.
really limited sight distance for the truck as well, because, you know, probably both of them, because he would have a hard time seeing what's coming around the curve, and therefore it would be hard for him to see what's out in the road by the time they're around the curve. So it could have been difficult for both of them.
The truck driver was not.
No, sir.
Where is he now? Is he in custody? Is he...
I'm not aware of his location at this point.
Who's primary agency dealing with the law enforcement? Is that State Patrol?
It's
or
going to
is
be the
it
Georgia State Patrol, that's correct.
Okay, so they'd be the ones bringing any charges something like that.
That's right, they'll have that information.
Would Gilmer County Sheriff have this fellow in the meantime?
Gilmer County Sheriff, you'll have to speak to their PIO, they could speak more to that.
Could you go over the numbers one more time?
We had 43 totally, at the total, we had 43 that were injured, 1 fatality, and 4 non-injured.
4 non-injured. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Do you know if the NTSB has been contacted?
I'm not aware, no, sir.
Thank you, sir.
One last question. Do you have, you know, a message both to truck drivers, bus drivers, motorists coming up the stretch road? What's the message for them, just based on what we saw today?
Well, this time of year for us, it's festival season in many of these communities in North Georgia, and you have a lot of bus travel and a lot of just regular traffic. So anybody traveling in this area this time of year, we just urge you to take extreme caution, pay close attention, observe the speed limit, and be aware of your surroundings. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Is that it for you, Chief, as far as briefings? Will there be?
That's it. Unless you guys need anything else, you can contact me directly. Yes, sir. What we'll probably do